everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're talking about IELTS writing task 1 process diagram. Welcome back everybody. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe to my channel. Okay, video drop every week, so if you don't subscribe you are not gonna get notifications. So subscribe to my channel, press the notification button, and you'll be sure to receive an update. Okay, this is the one people neglect most and they end up failing it. So equal chances and equal practices should be given to each type of IELTS question, no matter what, because you never can tell how it's gonna be on the test day. So I will give you step-by-step approach, easy 5 ways to do the process diagram without encountering any difficulty. Okay, so just go with me and understand. If you have any questions, please drop it in the comment box. I'll be going over it to answer all your questions. Okay, so like I said, we often neglect this question type and it ends up failing people. Okay, now you might be asked to describe a process, how things works, starting from the beginning till the end. You're expected to write in details how everything works. Okay, so I'll provide you 5 ways to do that. When you are presented with this kind of question, what do you do first? You have to look at your question, look at your task. Just use like 2 minutes to analyze and discuss your question. Just discuss it within yourself. What are you doing? You are looking at the question and you're trying to understand the question. If you understand it, you'll be able to write it perfectly well. If you don't understand it, you might make mistake. If you end up jumping to the question without proper analysis, you might lose something. You might not get it correctly. Okay, so you're going to analyze and understand. That is my first tip. Understand and analyze your task. So in this question type, you're checking the process. How many processes are there? What kind of process diagram is this? Is it man-made? Is it a natural? What do I mean by man-made and natural? A man-made process is just like you're describing how the production of maybe how an ATM works, how a license office works, how some man-made things function. Okay, but natural, you can describe even pregnancy, even the life cycle of a tadpole, life cycle of a butterfly, whatever natural thing, that is a natural. Okay, so you understand, you ask yourself, is this a man-made process or is it a natural one? Okay, that will help you to know how you're gonna approach it. Okay, is it a cyclical or a linear stage? What do I mean? Does it go like cycles? For a life cycle of something, that one is a cyclical because it goes and it still returns, just like a cycle, it keeps rotating. Okay, but a linear, it just stops at somewhere. You look for the important vocabularies to use. Okay, what are the important vocabularies that are particular to that one? The first format will be the first paragraph in your IELTS writing task 1 is the introduction. This is where you paraphrase the question. You paraphrase the question, you write it in your own word. So you are expected to do that. I will still let you know how to do that. Okay, so if you're paraphrasing, there are different ways to paraphrase. The easiest way is by using the word how. That is the easiest way to paraphrase. Okay. For example, the diagram describes the process of photosynthesis. So you can paraphrase it like, the diagram demonstrates how plants produce energy from sunlight. Okay, you can also paraphrase by changing few words. Okay, then you can also paraphrase by rewriting everything, but bear in mind that you're doing this to make it retain the meaning. You're not doing this to change the entire meaning. Then after that, you write your overall. Your overall, just like a summary, and you have to describe the process in just 2 sentences. You're doing this, okay? You have to ask yourself a few questions. Okay, before I tell you the few questions you ask yourself, you should know that your overall is a must in your IELTS writing. You cannot get a perfect band without an overall. If you don't write an overall, you'll be stuck at 5. So you have to learn how to do the overall. It is very easy to do that. Okay, so in this process diagram, you have to ask yourself a few questions. You ask yourself, how many stages are involved in this? Is it a linear process or a cyclical process? Is it natural or man-made? What is produced? Is there any material added? So with these questions, after asking yourself and answering the questions, you'll be able to know how to do the overall. So I'll let you know how I do mine. In the overall, first of all, you start with the stages. Okay, you can start by saying there are 10 stages involved in this. There are 2 stages involved in this. Okay, remember, you're making the overall very short. You're trying to tell the examiner, you're trying to let the examiner understand the task, even without looking at the question. So with your overall, the examiner will be able to have a knowledge of what the diagram is talking about without checking the diagram. So your overall is there to just explain it to the examiner in a nutshell. Okay, so you have to make it as interesting with just little detail there. Okay, you start by saying there are how many stages involved in this, then where does it start, where does it end? These are the things you have to include in your overall. Okay, so for this one, for this question, okay, in the overall, you can say there are 11 stages involved in this. There are 11 stages involved in the production of leather materials. It begins with drying the skin of the animals and finishes with the various goods made of leather. Okay, so it is very simple. Everyone will understand that this has 11 stages in it, and this is where it begins and this is where it ends. All right, so that is your overall. And now you should begin your overall with the word overall. It ushers in the sentence, it ushers in your overall in a beautiful and attractive way. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna sequence, you're gonna do the paragraphs. Okay, these are the next stage. Do the paragraphs. There are 2 paragraphs you're gonna do, and you're expected to explain in details what happens in the process, in the diagram. You're expected to do that, and you cannot do it beautifully without sequencing your paragraph. What do I mean by that? When you are sequencing, you're just using some words like after that, due to, consequently, then, next, firstly, secondly. Okay, this is a must use in your IELTS writing taxon process. It helps to make your work so interesting to the ear, and it helps you to begin each sentence in a beautiful way. Okay, now the mistake so many people make with sequencing is they mostly use the sequencing at the beginning. You can use it in the middle, you can use it in the beginning. So you try to alternate it. The way you use it, you try to alternate it. Okay, then the last thing is, when you must have written your paragraphs, then you're expected to check your work. Okay, there is no conclusion in the IELTS writing tax 1. Your overall is enough. Do not write a conclusion. Okay, do not write a conclusion. You're expected to write a conclusion in the tax 2. Now, as you're checking your work, you are proofreading for errors, for wrong spellings and anything. Okay, and even repetition, because you're not allowed to repeat words. You're not allowed to repeat words. You check your work. Remember to leave like 3 to 4 minutes to do that. Do not exhaust your time writing. Always leave 3 to 4 minutes to proofread and go over your work, because you might make mistakes while writing. So please do that. Okay, now we're gonna do together an IELTS writing task 1 process diagram. Okay, this is it. Shows the stages involved in the process of leather goods. Okay, so you're expected to summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. Now, you're not expected to write too many words. You do not write at least 150 words. Do not write up to 200 words. You can just limit your words to like 160. It's okay. Okay, then what do we do first? We look at the diagram, we're trying to analyze, then we count how many stages are involved. And you can see here there are about 11 stages involved. Okay, we have about 11 stages. Okay, what is the first stage here? You can see is animal skin, drying, maybe drying of animal skin. Then it ends with production, the materials produced. You can see shoes, bags, and you can see a football. Okay, so this is it. Then this is what you do here. Then you can see this is a linear process. It is not cyclical. Okay? It's a linear process because it starts from somewhere and it ends somewhere. Okay, with the end product, you cannot use the end product and start it all over again. Okay, so that is why it is a linear process. So these are the things you do, and you check what vocabularies can I use. You can just write down, maybe you can write down then, after then, consequently, next, secondly, firstly. So these are the common vocabularies you may use for this. Then, so after doing that, that will not take us like 2 minutes. Within 1 minute or less, you are done with this. So what you do is you write the introduction. Okay, when writing the introduction, remember I said that you're expected to paraphrase. Okay, now I'm going to show you how we paraphrase ours. Okay, so in the introduction, I've written mine like this. The diagram illustrates how animal skins are processed in order to produce various leather items such as shoes, handbags, and toys. So this is a beautiful introduction. Okay, yeah, it has paraphrased everything. It has paraphrased the word show to illustrate. You can also paraphrase the how the words were placed. Okay, you can see it is still, if you look at the introduction, you can see that it still retains the meaning. It is not different from the question. So these are the things you do. You paraphrase it in your own word. And like I said, you can use the word how, and I have used how here. So how is a very easy and simple way to make paraphrases or to write an introduction. Yeah. Now you should remember to use the passive tense. Passive tenses are used. Okay, for example, the skin are dried, or the skin is dry. These are passive tense. You cannot see the skin, you cannot say the skin was dried. Okay, the next is the overall. Okay, with the word overall, it can be seen that there are 11 complex stages. I wrote complex just to quantify the stages. You can see it's a complex one involved in the production of leather materials. Full stop. That is the first sentence. It begins with drying the skin of the animals and finishes with the various goods made of leather. Okay, that is a perfect overall. Okay, it has begun with the word overall, and you can see I have not repeated some words. I've said the stages. I have put relevant details here. I didn't go ahead to discuss everything. I didn't discuss everything. I just made the sentences so minimal and well explained. So if anybody looks at this introduction, the person will be able to understand it even without looking at the diagram. What I do is my body paragraphs. Okay, you should divide the diagram into the stages into 2 paragraphs. Okay, so the first one the first stages should be in the first paragraph, while the second should be in the second paragraph. Okay? Now, you should always begin your paragraph with some words like in the beginning, to begin with. These are very good words to use. We call them transition words. They are very good words to use. Okay. Okay, so in this, I've begun with in the initial stages, which is good. I've divided my stages into 2 paragraphs. Okay, in the initial stages, the skin is air dried before being loaded onto the truck. That is the first thing. Next, it is taken to a nearby factory where it undergoes 2 chemical treatments to clean and soften it. Okay, firstly, it is washed with a mixture of lime and water and then soaked in concentrated pure lime. Afterwards, the animal skin is smoothened through a flattening machine having 1 big and small ruler. Okay, you see, in this I've used some linking words. I've used varieties of sentence structures, complex, simple, to write a beautiful paragraph. Okay, you can see I have used vocabularies that explain sequence. You can see after, next. These are what examiners look at. These are what they look for. Okay? They want to know how things flow. They want to make sure that your essay is logical and it's flowing coherently. Okay, so you need to give it, you need it to flow very well and naturally. Okay, you want the examiner to feel attracted to your work. You want to produce a beautiful, want them to keep smiling as they are reading. There are things that people will write, and even if you are reading it, you are not able to understand it because the writing and everything, the sentence structures are not really in order. Everything is just it's so confusing to the ear and to the eye. So please do not do that. The examiner should be laughing or smiling when he or she is reading. Remember, they have so many things to do. So your own should be the one to make him or her happy. Okay. So in the second paragraph, I've written, in the next stage, before polishing the animal skin by roller, it is again soaked in tannin. It's a compound of water and vegetable matter. Okay. Finally, the polished skin is transferred to a processing factory by road, where they are made into a number of everyday products like shoes, bags, and balls. Okay, so you see, I began very well and I ended beautifully. Okay, it made everything flow. Everyone will understand what I'm writing. They already understand. You see, it began from somewhere until some materials are produced. I've used some sequence vocabularies. I've used beautiful vocabularies to bring out the perfect essay. So this essay is going to be from band 8 to 9 because everything, it is good, it's well structured. Okay, so after doing this, you should read, check your work, go ahead and check your essay. You're checking for errors, you're checking for wrong spellings, and you're checking for proper punctuation, because all these things are checked. All these things are looked at. If you are lacking in some of them, your band score might be reduced. Okay, remember to use linking words. Use varieties of linking words, but do not use excessive ones. Okay, so this is how to do a process diagram. It is so easy. It's easy when you read it. It's easy when you understand the test steps. It's easy when you understand how to do it. But if you keep on leaving it, you might be faced with a difficult one on the exam day, and it might be so difficult for you. So practice, 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 practice. Make your vocabulary list and be sure to practice every day. Okay, thank you guys for watching my video. Please, in the comment section, please can you comment, and please subscribe. Okay, thank you guys. Okay, so this is for you to write. Okay, you can follow my pattern and write an essay, write it in the, post your answers in the comment section, and I'll go ahead to read it.